Hello, and welcome to this extra episode of the Adrian Ross Show. This is a bonus. Normally, the show drops on a Tuesday. It's not Tuesday, but I needed to come to you with this special episode, and you're wondering why. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, let me remind you that you need to check out We the People of Cape Girardeau, www.wethepeopleofmissouri.org. If you've not gone there yet, do so, okay? You can also email WTP Cape County MO at gmail.com. Listen, if you love freedom, if you love the Constitution, if you're interested in finding out how to be prepared on a local level to have an impact and to hear from fascinating guests all the time, check out We the People of Cape Girardeau. All right. And I will be back a little bit later to tell you about the meeting this Tuesday coming, September 12th, at Delmonico's, of course, in Jackson at 5:00 p.m. Well, you've been hearing me talk about my engagement, for lack of a better word, with the Cape Girardeau Public Library over books that are clearly pornographic books. They are genderqueer. They are This Book is Gay. And I know there are other books that fall into that category also. So if you've been following, you know that I've been writing about this on my Substack, which of course is adrianross.substack.com. And I have talked about it right here on the Adrian Ross Show, genderqueer and This Book is Gay. And now I've heard about another book called All Boys Aren't Blue. And so it's an ongoing battle, it seems, nowadays for people to understand what we used to all understand. And that is that children are children and they shouldn't be sexualized. They shouldn't be exploited. There should not be books in the library where they can go and access these pornographic images. I'm not going to get into all that. Again, you've heard me talk about it. You've read what I've had to say about it. Children should not have access to it. In addition, no one should have access to child pornography images that are in this book. The words that are in this book, the encouragement to get on sex apps that you find, it's unacceptable. And so if you've been following, you know that I put forth, I talked to the people at the library. I went through the steps. I filled out the reconsideration forms for genderqueer and This Book is Gay. And you would also know, if you follow my Substack, if you're a subscriber there, you would know that those requests for those two books were rejected. And they gave their reasons, which basically comes down to they like the books. I mean, let's just be real, right? But they gave me some policy stuff. And anyway, I'm not done, and it's not just me. I mean, I just happened to come into. I didn't go looking for trouble. I happened to find out about genderqueer first, and so since then I've learned about the number of people who have taken up this battle. And so I went today. Today was the meeting after the letter was rejected. I knew that there was a library board meeting early this morning. And this morning, at the time that I'm talking to the camera, is Thursday, September 7th. And 7:00 in the morning Central Time, I went to the board meeting. And I was so grateful that there were about 8 to 10 other people who came to support. They only give you 3 minutes, and I'm going to show you that conversation. Now, they could give you a little bit more time to make your public comment if they want to, but I'm going to let you check out what happened when my 3 minutes, which is like a flash, went by, and what that conversation was like with one particular member of the board who happens to be the president. So the video is a little bit over 5 minutes, actually, and you can hear what I had to say, and you can hear what he had to say to me. So let's take a look right now at this morning's library board meeting in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I'd like to, everybody. Okay, so good morning, and thank you so much for the opportunity to come and to speak. And I have a lot to say, and there's only 3 minutes. That's interesting. I have read, though, that you could allot me an extra moment or so if that would be your desire. So I may request that at some point. But first of all, I am again Adrienne Ross. I am originally from New York. I taught English language arts for nearly 20 years, 7th graders. I'm also a writer and author, an editor, and I say all that to say that my history, my record speaks for the fact that I am for children. That I care about children. I care about literature, and so anything that I am against, that I'm speaking about, is only because I am for children. And so I came in recently to ask a question about genderqueer, and wondering where that book was in the library, and was glad to find out that it was not in the children's section, but it's in the graphic novel section. And but since then, I've learned also about other books, and one of which is this book is gay, which is weirdly in the children or the teen section, which to me is what's worse than genderqueer. So my concern about these books is that they're porn, they're pornography, and they're child pornography, and I don't understand how that is acceptable for children to be able to access that. So even if it's in the quote unquote adult section, children have access to. So I was curious about that. But first understand that it is pornography. When I asked about pornography, I really didn't get a straight answer. I was told that, well, it depends on how you define pornography. I think some things are obvious. When you're talking about anal sex, oral sex being depicted, masturbation being depicted, images of children with, penises in their mouth and masturbating, that is obvious porn. And the Department of Justice even defines for us what child pornography is. This book is gay, which tells kids how to have sex, encourages them to get on sex apps, tells them that they can meet up with people on sex apps, and these images, it meets the definition from even the Department of Justice of what child pornography is, which is of course illegal. And child pornography is not protected under the First Amendment. And again, this book is gay. It literally gives children the steps to how to get on sex apps, and then encourages them to meet up with strangers so that they can engage in sexual activity. I don't understand in this age, in this state where we are ninth in human trafficking, which includes child sex trafficking, how we find that acceptable. So I asked about your policy. Can any kid just come and look at a book that has pornography in it like this? And
Adrienne, I'm sorry, that's time.
And may I have a few more minutes?
No, we're gonna move on with the meeting for now.
Okay, well, I'm asking you to reconsider your policy, because a parent who gives the child a library card, they're not thinking that their child is coming in and having access to pictures like that. And I had a librarian say to me, we don't know every book that's in this place. And if you, and this is your profession, if you don't know every book that's here, then surely a parent doesn't. You've given two options. You either allow your child access to all kinds of stuff, or your child doesn't get a library card at all. And there has to be a middle ground for that. And as far as your policy, people make policies. Policies don't make people. So one thing we say in the Black community, when I knew better, I did better. And so having a policy that is detrimental to children is not acceptable. And having children have access to pornography is illegal, and it's also not acceptable. And so I'm saying reconsider your policy. Blockbuster used to have policy where a minor has a card, but a minor with that card, there's certain things that they cannot take out. The letter, excuse me one moment.
Your time is done.
Your letter To me,
Adrian, we need to move on
I
with our
understand
meeting.
that. Just want to finish my thought, please.
No, Adrian,
Your
time
letter
is
states,
well over time.
your letter
You're well
states
over time. We
that
need to move on with our meeting.
your letter states a 2-year policy.
Most of us are volunteers. Please
I
be
understand that.
respectful of our time.
Okay.
We
So
need
the
to
bottom
move on
line
with
is
our
that
meeting.
I asked that you would reconsider your policy. There are people here, we intend to fight this. We're not gonna just sit down. We care about kids. We appreciate what you do, but we're going to go the extra step. This was the first step after filling out the forms of consideration, which were rejected for books that are among the most challenged books, where states are getting rid of those books, where 56 districts are have gotten rid of these
Adrian.
books. So I just thank you for your time, appreciate that, and
Thank you.
we're gonna continue on
Thank
this.
you. We'll continue
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Reconsider.
I appreciate that. I do understand, I did read your policy that said you could allot me more time, so I was within that understanding of what is written. So if that's not the case, you probably should change that policy also, while you're changing policies. All right, so thank you.
We'll consider that as well.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you'll hear from me more, and the rest of us.
Well,
God bless
we're
you
all welcome
guys.
to stay for the remainder of the meeting.
Yep, I gotta run off to work, as I told the ladies when I came in. Well, there you have it. You see how fast 3 minutes go by. And I got some points in there, but I didn't have enough time. I mean, I didn't. And I did the best I could in the time allotted, and then pushing a little bit to get a little bit more time. Now, I find it very fascinating, for lack of a better word, that they're so into their policy, but although their policy would have allowed me more time, his answer, as you could see, was an absolute no. He definitely had a wall up. He definitely had his defenses up, and he did not want to budge. He then allowed me a little bit more time, or I took it, one might say. But it's a battle, I'm like, well, if you are such a stickler for your policy that allows children to access porn without parental permission to do that allows grown-ups to look at children, depictions of children engaging in sexual activity, or books that tell children how to have sex, and books that actually encourage children and tells them how to get on sex apps and meet up with strangers for that. I mean, if your policy allows that, then your policy shouldn't have been a problem to give me a little bit more time, especially since I was the only one who signed up for public comment, and their policy allows 15 minutes for that. But he didn't want to hear any more anyway. So I did the best that I could. But let me just reiterate some things that I kind of tried to throw out there as time even expired. But what I'm saying is that they've given parents really not much to work with. A parent is able to give a child permission for a library card that the child can use without the parent present. But the way they have it is that a child can come in with that library card and access absolutely everything. Or if a parent realizes some of what they call literature there in the library and wants to guard their children, as good parents do, then their child can't have a library card because mom and dad are not having it. That's not what the library is supposed to be for. When I was a kid and I went to get a library card, my parent, my aunt, my uncle, whatever, took me to get a library card. I mean, they didn't expect that I would be seeing images of oral sex, anal sex, and all that other stuff. So now you said, well, parents, you can either let your kid have absolutely everything or your kid gets nothing. Instead of having a policy in place, if you're going to have the book there until we can get rid of the child porn, which is really, I'm going to be bold and say that's the goal. The Department of Justice even has defined what child pornography is, as if we all don't know that those things are child pornography. But if you're going to, in the meantime, have these books there, then a child, even with the library card, should have to have specific permission, have to have a parent there to access certain material. It's just the right thing to do, if not the legal thing to do. Okay. So what now? I'm going to be picking some brains of people who've been engaged in this fight. And because I meant what I said, we can't just say, oh, we lost and move on. Children have to be important enough for us to take a stand and do what we can do everything we can do for their protection. Now, I know that there are people who think, oh man, you just got a problem with it because it's about, homosexual young people. In this entire battle, if you want to call it that, that has not been my approach at all. Nobody's heard me say anything about that. Perhaps that's a conversation for another day. But in this situation here, what I'm saying is that whether heterosexual or homosexual, children are children. We are not supposed to be throwing sex in their face, and we're not supposed to depict them having sex. I don't, even if it were heterosexual, I'm going to say that you should not be showing children engaging in sex, and you should not, as an adult, be looking at it, and children should not have access to it. And it doesn't change if someone happens to be gay. I know we're living in the culture where everybody is super sensitive, and the whole LGBTQ plus agenda and the transgender stuff, all this stuff. I know that everybody's all hypersensitive about that, and it's a whole big thing, even from the White House. Okay, when we've got other things that we need to be worried about or concerned with or fixing, rather than delving into people's sex lives. But anyway, that seems to be the thing. So even if you're homosexual, that you still, a child still should be protected. Even the homosexual kid who says, yeah, well, I'm gay. Well, even that child should not be encouraged to be engaging in sexual activity. It doesn't make sense. I don't care, heterosexual, homosexual, whatever. Children are children, and they should not be having sex, and they should not be encouraged to beat up with strangers to have sex, and they shouldn't have all these images, all that stuff. So we can't just walk away and say we tried, it's over. No, and I know people before me have been trying, and they're not getting but so far. But we're going to push on, and there are some other options, and we're going to take those options, and we're going to continue to pray for the hearts of the school districts that have these books, wherever those may be. I don't know if they're here in the local districts here. I don't know. I don't have any kids. I don't have any kids in the district. Okay, so I wouldn't know. But parents, I said before, I say again, you need to find out. Okay, but so the schools, the libraries, whatever the case may be, we have to do right by children, because children, they trust adults. They don't even process thinking about trusting the system. It's just, you're the adults. You should know better, and those parents, as I said, it's unfair to say, well, you gave your kid the library card. Well, the parent isn't thinking, any rational parent isn't expecting that adults who should know better would have this for their children. And so I say, change the policy. In the meantime, but while we wait for the books to get the old heave ho, as all child pornography should get, then at least flag those materials, and the children can have access to absolutely all the wonderful things you have there. But these inappropriate materials, you have to have a parent there. And that's going to cut down on a lot, because I don't think the kid's going to say, hey, mom, look at this guy, on this top of this other guy, and anal sex, look at this about sex apps. I'm going to try that. I mean, unless you're absolutely woo out there, you're not going to be like, yeah, Johnny, yeah, Shaniqua, go ahead and take that book out. No. So I guess there are some, but really there needs to be accountability beyond you just saying, well, it's the parent's responsibility to know. I had the librarian before tell me, I don't know if she's officially a librarian, but she worked in the library. She's like, well, we can't possibly know or read every book that's in there. Well, if that's your profession and you don't know, you certainly know that parents don't know, but they're trusting that you got good intent, and you're not throwing sex in their kids' faces, with other children. So I wanted to bring this episode because I wanted to show you how it all went down. I've been talking about it, been writing about it. People have questioned about it. And so I wanted to show you what took place in the little bit amount of time that I had to try to do justice to something that really should be a simple issue, but for whatever reason, it's a wide, vast issue. And you can kind of tell, even from the president, who had an edge about him, that's a rather sensitive subject for people. And sometimes you go, I wonder why. Not saying anything about the president, but I'm just saying, sometimes you got to say, I wonder why. What the heck is up? Same thing with, the Sound of Freedom, how, Hollywood and media tried to, blow that whole thing off with child sex trafficking. And you got to say, who are they trying to protect? Oh, that's just a conspiracy. Oh, that's QAnon. Oh, And again, I'm not saying anything about the board in that way, but I'm saying you gotta wonder what's going on in people's minds, at least, that they don't see the problem with allowing children access to things that they should not have access to. So the fight will continue, and I will continue to keep you informed about whatever the people in this area who care about children, whatever we end up, whatever the next steps that we have to do, because it's important. And there are other books that I don't even know about, because why would I know about these books? Like, I didn't even want genderqueer. Like, I didn't even want it in my house. Part of me was like, oh, maybe you should take the book out, and then nobody can get the book. I don't want it in my house. I gave them copies of some of the disturbing parts today. I'm like, ugh, like, it's just not it's not appropriate. I don't want to look at it. And I certainly don't want children looking at it, or other adults looking at children engaging in those kinds of things. So there you have it. All right, let me get back to We the People. And I want to tell you about the next meeting, because it totally makes sense with what we're talking about right now. On September 12th at 5:00 p.m. at Delmonico's in Jackson, We the People will have 4 guests, and the topic is equipping future generations. And if you've ever wondered, well, is there an alternative to public education? Well, the answer, of course, is yes. And some parents want alternatives. So we'll have Russell Grammer. He launched Prodigy Leadership Academy. Donna Goodson is at St. Paul Lutheran School. Mark Ruark is the principal of Saxony Lutheran High School, and Missy Adams is the assistant principal of Saxony Lutheran High School. So check out We the People of Cape Girardeau, Delmonico's, September 12th. That's Tuesday at 5:00 p.m. and learn about an alternative choice to public education. Okay, wonderful. Also, I hope you've been going to Luxel.
There are other options out there for your search engine. It's time to make the switch to Luxel, a search engine without bias, one that improves your access to information and puts you in control. Check out Luxel, that's Luxxle, today, and see how much better your searches can be.
All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of this unexpected episode of the Adrienne Ross Show. I'm glad you're tuned in. I appreciate every bit of support that you give every time you like or subscribe, leave a rating or review. It is helpful. I appreciate it. Please go to, as you see my shirt, the BMG Network. That is the bmgnetwork.com, and support the other podcasters there. We are engaging, enlightening, informative, and even entertaining. All right. Please go to my Substack, adrienneross.substack.com. Listen, I need your support. I have a vision for the Adrienne Ross Show. I have a vision for the message to bring and the work that needs to be done. I could use your support in doing that. Would you consider subscribing there? adrienneross.substack.com. There are free subscriptions, but I would really appreciate a paid subscription. It's next to nothing in cost, but it will help. And I could use your help. They always say some go by going, some go by giving. And some people are doing the podcast and doing the writing and going to the board meetings and all that. And other people are able to give and to support, and that all matters. So I really appreciate all of the support I appreciate my friend Christy, who recorded the video today at the library. I appreciate the others I know and some I did not know who came to support. Every bit of it matters. So thank you so much. And I will catch you next time on the Adrienne Ross Show, God willing, and God bless you abundantly.